Hey guys, Joe here, the guy. I had a costume party. I actually had a really cool costume. I went as Kevin Owens for Halloween. The beard. I had the beard. I have the gut. No disrespect to Kevin Owens. He's actually one of my favorite wrestlers ever. That's what So that's my little intro thing. I'm actually still tickled with how well that costume turned out. All done from home. It's kind of come cheap and lazy. But I'm here to talk about UFC 308. So enough talk about wrestlers and Halloween costumes because me and the friends we all went as wrestlers, and but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about UFC 308. So let's get to the fights. Main event: Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway, and a guy, I know they call him the Matador. I'm going to call him the Unicorn, and I'll explain why. I felt like this was what I was thinking. Life kind of got in the way, so me and Carl had issues shooting the preview show, but me and him both talked about it a lot, and I've talked with a lot of different people about it, and this was like the first time in a while where between casuals understood how close this fight was, hardcore fans understood how close this fight was, and it felt like split down the middle, you know. I felt like this fight, was going to be back and forth with eventually Max's experience and durability wearing down Topuria. And I was starting to look right as each round was super close. Topuria would take an early lead and Max would win near the end of the round. I thought it was really close, hard to score, honestly. Round 3, though, Topuria hurts Max big time. Probably the hardest we've ever seen him hurt. And big shot. He swarms, gets a knockdown with a huge left hook. From there, like, Max's eyes are loopy. From there, hammer fists. And Max goes out briefly for a stoppage win. And the best chin in MMA has been cracked. Probably the best chin ever. In terms of amount of significant strikes it's taken to get to this point. I think pound for pound, I don't know, its chins are weird because pound for pound, like, you kind of want to say Max, but you gotta, like, think about the fact that, like, Dan Henderson, it took him forever to get KO'd, and he was taking shots from heavyweights when he was walking around like 195. I think he was walking around like at 210 at the heaviest in his career, like when he was still in his prime, I should say. That dude wasn't huge, and he was fighting heavyweights, took shots from Fedor, kept going. But, dude, wow. Topuria is insane. He's kind of a douche sometimes, but he's really good. He's a unicorn. And here's what I mean by that. So, a unicorn, it's kind of it has origins in douchebaggery, I'll say, because a unicorn is primarily used for a romantic interest, but I like the term enough that I'm trying to apply it to everything and try to shed the douchebaggery on it. A unicorn is typically a romantic interest, a piece of media, or an athlete that is perfect without flaws. And unicorns don't exist. That's kind of the joke, is unicorns don't exist. It was used a lot when I was in college. You would see a girl, most beautiful woman you've ever seen in your life, and she's super cool, and and that's a weird thing, and I'm sure girls do this to guys too, like an attractive guy, that's interesting and funny, there's got to be something wrong with him. What's wrong with him? Unicorns don't exist. It's like, this is the joke. And I use it for athletes because, like, the greatest basketball player ever, Michael Jordan, he had like one thing that wasn't at the top. Like, his outside shooting wasn't perfect. Like, it was pretty good. He just didn't shoot, like, from outside all that much because the NBA didn't have an emphasis on that. If it did, he would have been great, but because of this, we can pick a flaw out with Jordan, right? That's kind of what we can do. In MMA, my two picks for the top 2 ever, GSP and Aldo, who I haven't won still. Never changing that. You never know. They have flaws, for sure, in their game. So unicorns don't exist. Topuria has kind of taken umbrage with that. He's taken umbrage with that last sentence because he isn't perfect, of course. That is just an exaggeration. But I remember going like, there's two fighters I've seen on the come up, and I go, does this guy have a flaw? This guy just amazing at everything. Like, what's going on? And it's him and Shavkat. They're both unicorns. And if Shavkat wins the belt, which I think he will, we have two unicorns. Insanity. It's so cool to see that we got guys like this right now. And it seems like Volkanovski's next, you know? So I was hoping it'd be Diego Lopez. I think that's more interesting. But I know Topuria was like, oh, dude, you're a warrior, man. You deserve it next. Big Volkanovski fan. It's really hard for me to take umbrage with that. But at the same time, I feel like Diego Lopez should have been next. So we'll see. In the co-main event, Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whitaker. So I picked Rob to win here. I thought Rob would weather the storm in round one. His anti-wrestling is very good. His defensive wrestling is very, very, very good. But Khamzat's pretty aggressive. He will get it eventually. So you kind of have to prep for that. And I thought Khamzat would blow his gas tank. If Rob can weather the storm of round one and partial round two, I think he has the fight, because they made it 5 rounds. So I was like, oh, they're making it 3 rounds. Khamzat decision was what I was going to say, but it's 5? Nah, dude, I think Rob's winning this fight. I think he's going to be pretty good in round 3, 4, and 5. And it was looking like that once again. Khamzat was got a takedown, sure. Rob's surviving and defending really well. He gets his back briefly. And it looks like he doesn't have the best positioning on it. I think only one hook was in. But he has enough leverage to get some pressure on the jaw. And suddenly, the quick panic tap came in. My jaw hits the ground. I'm like, what happened? Rob's pointing to his mouth. Turns out, Khamzat destroyed Robert Whitaker's jaw. Excuse me again. Wow. Just destroyed it. Seriously, if you have the stomach for it, go look at those pictures. It's horrific and sad. This fight could have been really, really good, but an injury kind of ends it. It's a submission win because of a broken jaw. But, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Khamzat, because he caused the injury. It wasn't like, someone jumped up for like a flying knee, whiffs, and lands bad on their knee or anything like that. It wasn't like he's circling out and he changes footwork awkwardly and re-aggravates a knee injury that he had in training. This was an injury caused by another fighter. So there's no issue in my brain with this. The two examples I always think of was Damian Maia versus Dong Hyun Kim, the stun gun. Dong Hyun Kim got taken down by Damian Maia, and it broke his rib. He got slammed down. His ribs shattered or popped out of place or something like that. TKO win for Damian Maia. I have zero problem with that. The other one is, and I'm not picking this because I got for bias, but I always think of Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera. The low kick caused the injury. Tough luck, dude. You know what I mean? Like, that's like getting knocked out, and it's like, I would have won if it wasn't for the injury, the concussion. You mean the one your opponent gave you? That's how my brain quantifies this. So it sucks. It's an injury. But at the same time, it's legit. And I don't think anybody's defending this. I'm just kind of preemptively defending myself because I've a verbiage I'm choosing to use, because I'm mostly saying that because it sucks, because I'm a Robert Whitaker fan, massive Robert Whitaker fan. So if there's some verbiage you think it makes me, that seems like I'm taking umbrage away or taking credit away. I'm using umbrage a lot. I'm using it too much. I'm taking credit away from Khamzat. That's not the case. It's just, like, I'm a little bummed out. I'm a big Robert Whitaker fan, because every credit in the world should be to Khamzat. He's not a very fun person. He's kind of a douche with very, very shady crypto scams and political issues. And not like in terms of like right wing, left wing, more like, oh, it's a dictator you're hanging out with. Ugh. Kind of issues. You know what I mean? So, not a Khamzat fan, but can't act like the dude isn't impressive. So, for the rest of the card, because I've rambled a lot on these first two, Magomed Ankalaev outpoints Rakic on the feet for a unanimous decision. Get this guy a title shot already. What are we doing? This fight was pointless. The idea of if Rakic pulled off a KO or a crazy finish or God forbid, the judges were terrible. We're giving Rakic a title fight. Like, this is outrageous. Like, God, I like Alex Pereira, but I'm not going to pretend like he isn't getting favorable matchmaking. It blows my mind. Also, Ankalaev, I swear to God, you wrestle with Pereira. Don't be stupid. Lerone Murphy beat Danny Ige. After scaring the first round, he got wobbled and knocked down. But he came back, rounds 2 and 3. Ige kind of gassed out. But it was a really fun fight. Gets a unanimous decision win. It's a fun one. Shara Bullet, I'm not even going to try his name, dude. Shara Bullet. But he opened the main card with a great double spinning back fist KO on Armen Petrosian while he was down on the cards for sure. It was the second round. He definitely lost the first round. But he goes like with a rear hand spinning back fist, lands it, and then spins like right back. It was super cool. Very, very cool. Not quite knockout of the year. I think in terms of the technique knockout, yeah, absolutely. But I think knockout of the year should be the KO and everything surrounding it. I maybe I've like going back on something I've said. Maybe I sound like a hypocrite, but I feel like I've always judged it that way. So I still have to give it to Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, because 1 second left in a 5-round fight and they're just brawling. What? It's insane. Ibo Aslan got a quick TKO over Rafael Sequeira. RDA, he got knocked down and was looking like he was hurt, and he suffered a knee injury very early against Jeff Neal. Mateusz Rebecki beat Mike Tybeck Orlbai by split decision. I'm trying, guys. This one's gonna suck too. Abu Supuyan, that's not that bad. Abu Supuyan Magomedov got a come-from-behind victory with an arm triangle choke over Bruno Ferreira. Kennedy Njoku, I know that one too. Put it on early on Chris Barnett. I really like Chris Barnett. He's really fun. He's like a boy. Not quite in my stable, but I like him. He's fun. And Barnett suffered an injury while fighting defensively and kind of backing up and moving. A lot of 3 injuries on the card. It is what it is. Farid Basharat beat Victor Hugo by unanimous decision. Ismail Naurdiev, I believe it was Naurdiev is how they pronounced it, beat Bruno Silva by unanimous decision. And finally, Renat Fakhretdinov was just gifted a decision, like in this an insane decision against late replacement Carlos Leal. These judges are wild, man. They're just ruining everything lately, it feels like. And Renat, he did make it worse. He criticized the commentators and fans, like us, who thought he lost the fight. And he kind of made it like a slightly race thing, because he was like, oh, because of my ethnicity, people are going to think the Abu Dhabi government and the Saudis are going to, buy this decision for me. Super lame. But what can you do? That's it for me, though. I mean, I'm super happy to be here. Obviously, I actually just got a new job, in my personal life. So I'm super pumped. It gives me a lot of time to work on things for the channel, and I can be much more involved and get a lot of things done. So I'm super happy. Plus, it's a nice pay raise, and it's not a toxic work environment like I was at currently, or when I'm currently at until like a week and a half. But I'm super pumped. It's going to give me a lot more time to hang out with you guys and hopefully make more Patreon content, which is the best way to support us still. You get exclusive content, all our videos, plus as a bonus, you can, nominate anything I can get my hands on for a retro review card. But I'm Joe with the INC. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.